Smoothest son of a bitch.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
What's up, YouTube? My name is Vic, and I am the Brooklyn Watch Guy. If this is your first time on my channel, this channel is all about watch buying, collecting, unboxings, and reviews in the affordable range, which I define as $1,000 or less. If you're into that, I invite you to stick around, watch the video. If you make it to the end, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so you know every time I put a new video up. Folks, today we're going to be doing a watch review on this guy right here. We're taking a look at the Seagull 1963. This is the third time I own this watch. Little backstory. I first bought this, the first two I bought on AliExpress, but I never bought them from Seagull directly. The first one was from a store on AliExpress. They were selling them for like 125 US. That one worked for a few days on me, and then one day I went to put it on, and the movement just would not wind. It would not, the crown would just spin freely and it wouldn't wind. So I sent that one back and I got a refund, which was not an easy process. Took time, but I did get my money back. But it was a very painful process. The second one, I decided to go cheap. And that was my first mistake with that one. I went cheap. I went and got a quartz version, which was less than 25 bucks. And that one, just from the start, it never worked right. The time was never accurate. The chronograph never functioned right. It was just a piece of trash. And I ended up just throwing it in the garbage. And then I just quit on this watch. It was a watch I really wanted because I'm a bit of a history buff, and I like things that have some heritage behind them, that have cool backstories behind them, historical stuff. So I was always attracted to this watch because of the story about it. So I really wanted to have it in my collection. But after those first two experiences, I just said, the hell with it, not worth it. So there I was one day, like recently, and scrolling through Amazon. Well, not recently, about a month ago. And I saw it. And Seagull actually now has a store on Amazon, which they didn't at the time, or at least I didn't find it. So I actually pulled the trigger again because I bought this one directly from Seagull. But not only that, this one has Amazon's customer support behind it. So if the watch does clunk out on me again, I know that going through Amazon, I am not going to have a problem. So that's ultimately why I pulled the trigger on it. And so far, so good. Let's see. Hopefully the third time's a charm with this guy. But just so you know, if you do buy the direct from Seagull version, that is going to be the most expensive one that you buy. This particular one, I paid 165 US. But I've seen versions of this watch in the 2 to 3, and I believe there's some out there in the $400 club. So the prices for this guy are kind of all over the place. So it's a watch you want to shop around for. The 1963 has an interesting story behind it. Seagull has been around since 1955. The Seagull company themselves make this movement, but they did not create it. The ST1901, which is the movement inside this watch, it is a Swiss design manual wind movement. The Seagull company purchased the rights to it and the machinery necessary for making it. Originally, they didn't even make watches. They just made movements. They used to supply movements. So when the Chinese Air Force issued these to their pilots, they came from different companies, but they all had the same movement inside. Today, you can still find these watches. They're all over AliExpress, Amazon, and so on, eBay. A bunch of them are sold by different brands, like Red Star. That's a popular one that I see out there. But they all use the same movement, the ST1901 movement. To my knowledge, the main difference is if it has 22 Zuan, which you see, I'm sorry, here on the dial, 22 Zuan, that one I believe is from Seagull themselves. If you see one that has 19 or 21 Zuan on the dial, that is from another company. Zuan, for you don't know, is Chinese for jewel. Now, like I said, this is from my research. I don't know how accurate any of this information is. Trying to get information out of China is not the easiest thing in the world. So this is what I've come up with my research. I could be wrong. If I am, look, I'm open to being corrected. I'm not offended by it. You can see the movement here. It is actually a very pretty decorated movement. It is a really, really, really nice movement to look at. Just beautifully how it's designed and decorated. You see in the case back, minimal information there. I don't know what any of that Chinese text translates to, so don't ask. Uh, for all I know, it could translate to "you're stupid." You just never know. I don't speak Chinese. I have some Chinese friends, so maybe I'll ask one of them when I see them. But yeah, that a beautiful dial. I can't complain. It's something I honestly, really speaking, I do take off the strap because it does come supplied with a NATO strap. And I like to look at it sometimes. I'm a geek. Look, I like to see how these things work and how they're spinning and all that stuff. It entertains me. Let me get back to the watch now. This particular one is the 38 millimeter version. There is a 40 and a 42 millimeter also. You get stainless steel construction, 316L, mineral crystal on this guy, 15 millimeter stick. Lug width is 18 millimeters, and like I mentioned, it comes on a supplied NATO strap, which is actually a pretty decent NATO strap. Doesn't feel, I've had NATO straps from some of these Ali companies, and they feel like crap, like almost paperish. This one actually feels pretty good. Lug to lug, 45 millimeters. There's no loom on this guy, so don't look for it. But there is a version that is sold with loom on the hands and some on the dial. You get 30 meters of water resistance. It's about 98 feet for us Americans. No screw down crown on this guy, however. The first position, which is the position the watch already comes in, that is position 1. You want to turn this to the 12 o'clock to wind your watch. Do not turn it to the 6. You will damage the movement. Position 2 will set your time. You get a running seconds hand here on the left sub dial. The right sub dial, that is your elapsed minutes for the chronograph function. The chronograph on this guy is not the smoothest feeling chronograph. Like to push the button, it's a really hard click. I'm not comfortable with that, but this isn't a feature I'm going to be using probably ever, honestly. I don't need the time stuff, my daily chores or my daily work life. So it's not a feature I'm going to use very much, but it is something to note that, so the quality on these guys is really all over the place. It can be hit and miss, but it doesn't feel good. At least the top pusher is like really, really stiff to push in. But you see here, the bottom one, it pushes very easily, very smooth, and it jumps right back to its position with no problem. So that's a little bit of information and the specs on the Seagull 1963. I'm going to put this guy on my wrist, and I'm going to give you some on-wrist looks. All right, y'all. So this is what it looks like on my wrist. You see, 38 millimeters. It's a good sweet spot. It looks bulkier because the NATO strap underneath it, but comfortable watch to wear. I said good quality NATO on it. You can see there, I don't know if it shows in the camera that much, but that is a really high domed glass. I haven't had issues with it bumping it or anything, no scratches on it, but it is mineral, so you want to keep that in mind. The mineral crystal will scratch, it's not sapphire. There are versions of this guy that come with acrylic. I don't know why you would buy that one, especially if it's a watch you're going to wear often. Acrylic is just horrible. I would never buy a watch with acrylic unless it's something I'm just going to put on once in a while. But this is what it looks like on my wrist. You see no overhang at all on this guy. Pretty comfortable watch, really good looking watch to look at. And guys, my final thoughts is if you're thinking about the 1963 Seagull, you definitely want to do your research. You don't just want to buy this from the first seller that you see, especially if you are buying it on AliExpress, because there's a million listings on AliExpress for this watch. I forgot to mention too, there's a lot of different variants of this guy color wise. Some of them are really attractive. There's a panda, there's even a reverse panda, all really, really good looking watches. This is one thing this guy has. It is really attractive watch. But with that said, don't just buy it from the first seller you see. Do your research, read some of these comments, read some of these reviews, learn to separate which reviews are real, which ones seem a little too fake. And I said, that's how I got burned the first time I bought this guy. I decided to go a little cheaper, and I bought a watch that was crap. From what I seen on forums, if you go with the Red Star brand, that they're pretty safe. But I think Red Star is even a little more expensive than Seagull. So if you go Seagull, you'll be safe. And honestly speaking, from my experience, if you see this guy on Amazon, that's where I would snatch it, because Amazon's customer service. It's going to be no questions asked. If you have a problem, you send it back. You either get a refund or you'll get a new watch. So guys, with that said, the 63, I think if you're interested in it, do your research. Pull the trigger, but do it cautiously. I'll see you on my next review video. Peace.
Hey, YouTube, it's Vic, the Brooklyn Watch Guy. Got any questions or suggestions for content? Well, scan this QR code, send me an email. Maybe you see your idea come up, or I'll answer your question on a video. Thank you for watching.